Welcome to today's explainer. If you've ever stared blankly at a form, realizing you desperately need a utility bill just to prove you live where you say you live, well, you know how frustrating it is. Today, we're going to hack this bureaucratic maze together. So let's ask the big question. Do you need a utility bill in your name quickly? Whether you've just moved, need proof of residency, or are looking to simplify your life, we have the expert guidance to help you achieve this smoothly and efficiently. And honestly, whether you're opening a bank account or just trying to finalize a lease, that one piece of paper is a total game changer. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today. First up, understanding utility providers. Then, we'll gather required documentation, contact the provider, and walk through setting up an account. Finally, we'll cover troubleshooting common issues and look at some alternative solutions. Section 1. Understanding utility providers. Navigating the grid. Before we can get a bill, we kind of need to know what actually counts as a utility, right? Like, what does the DMV or a bank actually want to see? Basically, they want an invoice for the heavy hitters that make a house function: electricity, water, and natural gas. These prove you're consistently using a physical space. Now, what about internet? Well, broadband is actually a bit of a gray area. Depending on how strict the agency is, they might reject it because it looks more like a mobile app service than a fixed home utility. So, pro tip, stick to power, water, or gas for an absolute guarantee. Now, here's something really fascinating. There's a big difference between who you buy your energy from and who actually delivers it. In deregulated markets, you've got options. You have your traditional utilities, think Con Edison or PG&E, who both supply and deliver locally. But you might also use an alternative supplier, like Residence Energy. If you do that, your local utility company still physically delivers the power and sends you the bill. Why does this matter? Because your proof of address will still come on that official local utility letterhead, which is exactly what you need for verification. Section 2. Gather required documentation, the ultimate checklist. Having your paperwork locked and loaded is literally the ultimate cheat code here. When you reach out to a provider to start service, they need to know exactly who you are and that you actually have a legal right to be at that property. So build a physical folder or, a giant digital hoard on your desktop with these core documents: your government-issued ID, a signed lease agreement or property deed, and ideally a previous utility bill or a welcome letter. Oh, and if you're setting up a commercial service, you'll absolutely need your tax ID or social security number ready to go. So the crucial point here is this: the name on your utility account has to match your legal ID, character for character. Seriously, if your LLC is Acme Solutions LLC, but you set up the bill as just Acme Solutions, the bank will probably reject it. And one more thing, physical street addresses are an absolute must. P.O. boxes, mail facilities, and care of addresses, those are almost universally flagged by fraud detection systems because they just don't prove you actually live there. Section 3. Contacting the provider, the fastest path to activation. All right, your documents are flawless. How do we actually contact them to get activated as fast as possible? You basically have two lanes: online or picking up the phone and going in person. Online setup is, hands down, the fastest route for a standard transfer. You just upload your docs, pick a date, and you're done in minutes. But you can't always use the website. For example, PG&E's policy explicitly says if you're moving into a brand new build or if you've had past credit issues with them, you literally have to call a rep or visit a center. The website just won't let you bypass that. Another thing to keep on your radar: hidden setup fees. For instance, the city of Mount Dora, down in Florida, hits all new accounts with a standard $30 setup fee. But here's a brilliant little hack. You can often slash these administrative fees down to practically nothing. In Mount Dora's case, you can drop that $30 down to just $5 simply by enrolling in paperless billing and autopay the exact moment you set up the account. Always ask the rep if there's a discount for going paperless. Section 4. Setting up an account. Step-by-step execution. Let's put some structure to that actual onboarding process so there are no surprises. It's basically 4 predictable steps. First, choose your provider and your service plan. Second, verify your identity and address using that pristine paperwork we talked about. Third, pay any necessary deposits. And fourth, schedule your start date. Actually, experts highly recommend initiating this whole thing at least 2 weeks before you move. Not only does it prevent you from sitting in the dark, but it gets your name into their billing cycle way faster. But wait, what if you have zero credit history with this new provider? Or, maybe your credit score has seen better days. Don't panic. The utility company will usually just ask for a cash deposit to cover their liability. It's completely normal, and the amount is based directly on your credit score and payment history. You can usually just pay it online, send it by mail, or drop cash at a local payment center. Section 5. Troubleshooting common issues, navigating roadblocks. Because bureaucracy is never perfect, let's talk about a major roadblock, the dreaded debt blockade. What happens if the previous tenant left behind a massive unpaid bill? Well, utility providers will frequently freeze service activation at that address entirely. They do this to stop associates of the old customer from fraudulently opening a new account just to keep the lights on. It's super frustrating and can completely stall your progress. But here is a really clever workaround, and this brilliantly illustrates how to beat the system. To break the blockade, you have to prove you are a brand new, completely unaffiliated resident. And you can't just do this over the phone. You need to march down to a retail service center in person, holding your freshly signed lease or deed, plus a welcome letter from a different utility. This establishes a clear legal break-in occupancy, which literally forces the provider to lift the freeze and activate your account. Another classic roadblock is a name mismatch. Maybe you live with roommates, or the bill is just in your spouse's name. Utility databases are stubbornly designed around a single primary account holder. So if the bill isn't in your name, you have to use what we call linking documents. This means you take that utility bill and pair it with a marriage certificate, a court-ordered name change, or a notarized affidavit from the primary account holder. These secondary documents bridge the gap and prove to the bank or the DMV that you actually live there. Section 6. Alternative solutions when a utility bill isn't possible. But let's be real, what if you live with family, you're at a temporary spot, or you just can't get a traditional bill in your name fast enough? Well, according to identity verification experts, traditional utilities are not your only option. Institutions will accept some really powerful alternatives. Things like bank or credit card statements are incredibly reliable. Same goes for government-issued IDs, vehicle registrations, current insurance policies, property tax receipts, and rental agreements. A legally binding month-to-month lease is actually often just as powerful as a power bill. However, if you're using these alternative documents, you've got to watch out for fraud detection red flags. Do not submit anything older than 90 days. The system sees it as stale. Stay far, far away from commercial mail drop addresses. And whatever you do, please don't submit cropped mobile screenshots or documents missing an official letterhead. Modern verification systems use AI to spot tampering, and a low-res screenshot is going to instantly trigger a rejection. Conclusion and professional disclaimer. We've covered a ton of ground today, from navigating the energy grid to bypassing debt blockades. But before we wrap up, a quick professional disclaimer. While the strategies we've discussed are highly predictable, exact processes do vary by region and provider. Ultimately, local jurisdictions and utility companies have the final say. So definitely verify the specifics directly with your local provider, whether that's Con Edison, PG&E, or your town's water department, just to ensure you have the most accurate info for your area. You are officially equipped with the ultimate cheat codes for navigating the utility grid. You know exactly what documents to gather, how to avoid sneaky fees, and how to use linking documents when those inevitable roadblocks pop up. So now that you have the tools to slice right through all this administrative friction, how quickly will you take control of your identity and get that bill in your name? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, stay focused, and go conquer those bureaucratic hurdles.